All right, everybody, what is going on? We are back here for another episode of Sinister's Movie Night. And this one's exciting. This was a first watch for both me and my co-host, as I introduce him right now, Hunter Chandless, the Hitman. What's going on, man?
How's it going, man? Yeah, this is a first watch for both of us, which is always a very fun time because you and me get to actually react to a movie for the first time, seeing it not ones that we love or ones that we know going in that we're going to hate.
Yeah, it provides for a lot of fresh take on a movie.
Definitely.
Kind of more of a review-ish type thing because we're kind of just coming fresh off of it. But yeah, so this week we did From Dusk Till Dawn, which is directed by Robert Rodriguez, starring George Clooney, Quentin Tarantino, Harvey Keitel, and a few cameos here. Even Cheech Marin playing three characters.
Three characters, the three faces of Cheech. It was also written by Quentin Tarantino, by the way.
That's right. And I will say that is very apparent immediately.
Especially in the first half.
Oh, yeah. Right off just in more Tarantino style, it's immediately the opening scene is something long, drawn-out dialogue that ends up paying off pretty well.
Mm-hmm. So, if you're ready, we can go right into the rundown. So, go ahead and explain this movie.
Yeah, so basically, From Dusk Till Dawn, there are two brothers on the run. Because they are both wanted by the cops, killed a couple cops, robbed the bank, stole some money, and are fleeing down to Mexico. And these brothers are played by George Clooney and Quentin Tarantino. George Clooney playing Seth, and Quentin Tarantino playing Richie. And they get into some pretty deep-ish, pretty early on that they have to take some hostages. And they take Harvey Keitel and his son and his daughter.
Yep. Played by, I believe his daughter is played by, was it Juliette Lewis?
I always forget her name. She's in everything. I mean, she's in
Juliette Lewis, yes.
Okay, Juliette Lewis. I remember that because she's in so much stuff.
She was in National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, which is the first time I saw her.
Okay, and I've seen her in like probably countless of movies, using that southern accent that she's got there. But yeah, they take hostage. They're they end up getting into Mexico, stopping at the bar that Seth is supposed to be meeting his friend Carlos, played by Cheech Marin, and wait for him to come so he can rendezvous, or was able to get him to El Rey.
El Rey.
El Rey. We hear a lot about El Rey, and that's one of those like things that we'll mention later about like secrets in this film that don't really get explained, and I'm perfectly okay with. Yeah, so they get to this bar, and it's called the excuse our language, the Titty Twister.
Yeah, this is gonna be kind of our explicit episode.
And I'll say it's because it caught me off guard, like when it happened in this movie, because I wasn't really expecting it. I mean, it was pretty tame, besides from like blood and gore, which you expect from a Robert Rodriguez or a Quentin Tarantino film. But when the P word started getting spouted off over and over again, that's where I was like, okay, this kind of movie.
Especially in the opening scene, there was one scene. I think you know where I'm going with this. Towards the beginning in the hotel room, that is so fucking creepy.
Yes, it's 100% creepy, and that's something I had to readjust for. I wasn't entirely expecting it to get there when we get there. So yeah, they go to this bar. They're waiting for Carlos, having some drinks, and turns out that this bar is full of vampires.
Yep. And that's immediately where you know the shift. Now this is a Rodriguez film.
Absolutely, this is a big shift in this film. Like 100%, it goes from one movie to an entirely different movie, and whether you like it or not is based on your personal preference.
Me personally, I did.
I did too. I enjoyed it, but we'll get to that. So, Quentin Tarantino gets stabbed. Blood comes out, causes the vampires to go a little crazy, and that's where we get into it.
By the way, it's the same hand. It's the same hand.
It's the same hand from the opening scene that he got shot right through by the clerk the sales clerk, the store
Sales
clerk.
clerk at the store. Yes.
Yeah, so he's stabbed right in that same hand. But pretty quickly, things go to shit really, and vampires are attacking. They got to make certain decisions, and some people die, some people make it, and that's really what it turns into is just a big giant vampire battle at the end of this movie. And I will start saying right off the bat, I did dig that. I liked it a lot. I think if you're open to like crazy turns like that, and I've seen movies like your mom. I've seen movies like Sorry to Bother You. Sorry to
Yes.
my friend Angel. Hey, what's up, Angel? In the comment section, appreciate you joining. And yeah, it's like Sorry to Bother You. I've seen movies like that. So and immediately when the flip happens, I love it. So I'm cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Opposite direction.
I really enjoyed this movie. This is right down my alley. It's Tarantino dialogue with Robert Rodriguez's action and the way he can film certain action scenes, which are really well done in this movie. And to me, it works perfectly. You frozen? I think Alec might be frozen, ladies and gentlemen. Well, let's move on to Jacob Fuller, played by.
I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry. Thank you for taking over.
I was like, I'm not sure if he's typing intensely or if he's just frozen.
My Wi-Fi is a little wonky at the moment, so that might happen one or two more times.
So I was saying we can move on to Jacob Fuller, which is another side plot in this movie. He's a pastor who I believe he loses his wife due to a car accident, and he slowly starts to lose faith in his religion, which is a very great underlining story that really gets the center of attention is having all the faith, losing your faith, and then refinding your faith at the end of the movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
especially with Keitel's character.
Yeah, Keitel's great. You know, pull really anything off, and he really brings kind of a heart that doesn't that without him you don't get in this film really. Because you have the hardened criminals of Richie and Seth. So Jacob Fuller is kind of that not antagonist, but the kind of the opposite end of Seth's side.
Mm-hmm.
And Richie are 100%, immoral and don't care about anything except themselves. You have a family man who has to really make decisions in order to save his family.
Yeah. So they end up meeting in the movie when what is it? Is it Richie, played by Tarantino, ends up killing one of their hostages in a hotel room, and in order to have a hostage to be able to take him into Mexico, they pretty much kidnap this family at gunpoint. It's Juliette Lewis plays the daughter, Harvey Keitel's the father, and what is the son's name? Is it Fred Williamson? No, not Fred Williamson. I cannot find his name.
He is played by, let's see, Sean. Dang, he is way down the.
Well, because I think this is his only role.
Yeah, and it's played by Ernest Liu.
Ernest Liu.
Yep.
So they get kidnapped, and pretty much they have to get to Mexico. Mm-hmm. And the border scene is really well done. Because again, it's the first appearance of Cheech as the border inspector.
Yeah, the border patrol.
He comes on board, and you see Juliette Lewis's character is in the toilet, or using the toilet, and then off to the side, you have Seth, who knocks out his brother after he talks too much, which I find hilarious.
Mm-hmm. And that's probably the best acting of for Quentin in this movie was that scene. Like he's so annoying. Where you're just like, oh my god, stop talking. And he's so crazy that he was just like going off. And yeah, it was a nice little
Yep.
turn. That was probably the best piece of acting for Quentin in this movie. He was fantastic in that part, in that scene.
I think Tarantino is not an actor.
No.
So for not being an actor in this movie, I think he does really well with what he's given.
Yeah, he's told to be creepy and like a little crazy, and he was exactly that in the movie.
He's very creepy.
Yeah, he did what he was supposed to do.
Let's not talk about the hotel room scene where we first meet Juliette Lewis's character.
Yeah, that's a wild scene.
Like, that is super creepy.
Now you already like, oh, he's already killed 2 people or even more. So yeah, he's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
The part where like, oh, he's like
he's a psychopath.
Yeah, he should be institutionalized.
Definitely. So yeah, we get to the bar, the titty twister, which again, like, why not?
It's Quentin Tarantino, man.
It's a biker bar.
Yeah.
Biker and trucker bar. And who do we see when we first open the doors? Danny Trejo, Machete himself.
And he was
as
so
the bartender.
Skinny. He was so skinny and like so much younger than he is now. Like I was like, wow, he looks way different back then. I think the first time I ever saw him was Spy Kids. Another Robert Rodriguez film. But like the first time I saw Danny Trejo was Spy Kids. I never saw him in anything else. Even then, he was already a little older. Like he was young, was skinny, wasn't as built as he is now.
And you also meet what is his name?
You got Sex Machine.
Sex Machine, played by the great Tom Savini.
Yes, he's great.
Of course, Tom Savini, horror effect icon, did the Jason makeup for a lot of the Friday the 13th films. So it's so cool to see him in this movie. And I'm going to try to say this as bluntly as I can. He has a cock pistol.
Yep. That's very Robert Rodriguez.
That is.
100% Robert Rodriguez.
I believe he actually brings that back in one of the Machete movies.
Does he?
I believe it was a weapon for Rose McGowan's character.
No, Rose McGowan had the because you're thinking of Planet Terror. And Rose McGowan had the leg, the gun that's a leg. I mean, the leg that's a gun.
No.
I believe like a sword.
Rose. Well, there's another movie then. It's one of the Rodriguez movies where he brings it back and gives it to Rose McGowan.
Okay, because and this one, I mean, in Planet Terror, she was the woman with her leg is like cut off in one of the scenes.
Yeah,
and he gets a gun, and Freddy Rodriguez gives her the gun for a leg. Great,
dude. Yeah, Tom Savini, man. He's great in this movie. He knows exactly what character he has to play. The opening scene we see him in is literally like he steals a drink from one of the customers and then threatens them with his cock pistol. So
yes, he did. And do you want to know? I mean, this is kind of a spoiler, but we're talking about the whole movie. Do you know who played him as a vampire?
Mm-mm.
Or who did the special effects makeup for him? Greg Nicotero is credited.
Ooh, of The Walking Dead.
Yes, of The Walking Dead. And once you see all those, all the great special effects, and I mean the great practical effects in this film, like it's no wonder it's Greg Nicotero because dude, he's one of the best especially in terms of like crazy body horror that you can get away with.
Yeah, definitely.
Greg Nicotero himself.
So then we have the great Selma Hayek as. Do you have her name?
Yes, it is. Santanico. Once I had it.
Santanico.
Oh man, it took me really far away. I'm gonna go to IMDb. I don't know why I'm not at IMDb. Here we go. She is playing the character of Santanico Pandemonium.
There you go.
Santanico Pandemonium. Yeah, she's basically the
Not gonna lie, super beautiful.
To this day.
To this day, man.
To this day. But yeah, she's playing the dancer. She's like the main attraction of this of this. And
she
then
has a giant ass snake that goes around her.
Oh yeah, and my dad actually had a snake just like that.
Really?
Telling the truth. Yes, he did.
Nice.
And she's dancing. She's doing her whole thing. I guess, maybe a part of the foot fetish thing that everyone talks about with Quentin Tarantino is kind of on display in this film.
Very much.
Yes. So Quentin Tarantino gets a mouthful of I'm assuming it's Selma Hayek's, but you never actually see her foot in his mouth in the same scene. I'm in the same frame. Or somebody else's. I feel like Selma Hayek might be like, I'll draw a line right here. You have to think.
And then, she becomes a vampire.
Yeah, because the guy the second character that Cheech Marin plays was basically assaulted by Seth when he got.
Tarantino coming back and hitting him. How does that feel?
Yeah, in typical like slime ball fashion. Take it, get it until the guy's down. But that guy comes in, is basically like, yo, get this guy out. And then Quentin gets stabbed in the exact same hand he got shot in.
Exact same hand.
The blood causes all the vampires there to just go full on bloodlust. And the climax of the film happens.
It's literally the second half of the film is literally set in one location.
Set in one location. That's a Tarantino specialty, I would say. And it's just all one big fight, like one big battle of just these guys having to get out of this bar, this ragtag group, because once the blood happens, the vampires that are all working there, like the other dancers and the bartenders and stuff, they basically say, it's time to kill all these guys. Door gets completely walled off or blocked off, so they can't leave, and everyone dies pretty quickly, at least of the main vampires. Like very quickly, which I was surprised by, but I was not like disappointed by any means. It's just it happened. Like right when what's her name? When Salma Hayek dies, you're like, oh, I thought she had like a bigger.
Her death has probably the greatest line I've heard from George Clooney in a long time. When she's like, "Welcome to being a slave," he's like, "Oh, sorry, I've already been married."
Yeah, that's a good line. Maybe that was all George on that one. If it was improv, that would be great.
I wouldn't be surprised.
But yeah, so the battle goes down. The main parts get taken off pretty quickly. Sama, Machete, and
Machete.
That's what I always known as. They all go down pretty quickly, and then you deal with the fact that one bite turns you into a vampire. So if you got bit, you're gonna turn no matter what. So first, Sex Machine turns into a vampire.
Yeah, and then it's
Frost is his name.
Frost, yeah.
By Fred Williamson. Frost played by Fred Williamson. He gets turned into a vampire pretty quickly. Who then ends up and Sex Machine also bites Jacob Fuller, Harvey Keitel's character. And Seth and the two kids are able to get into a room, and Jacob Fuller creates a cross, and since he's a preacher or a minister.
This is so cool. He creates, he takes a shotgun, puts a fucking pipe in the middle of it, and it makes a cross.
Makes a cross that he can also shoot whenever they get a little too close. It's pretty sweet, man. It's definitely ingenious. It's one of those things where you're just like, I would never thought of that.
Definitely. The weapon integration, like the way they use the weapons in this movie, are really, really creative. Like taking a water gun and creating holy water out of it and then spraying them with it, or finding different ways to create, crosses, things like that.
Yeah, don't forget the set also had condoms full of holy water as well that you could throw. Some holy water balloons. You had the crossbow that just happened to be in the like vampire's lair that has stakes, which is
why not?
Yeah, and then Seth takes a jackhammer, puts a big old piece of wood at the end of it, and
that is great.
So yeah, it's pretty cool, man. It's very different, and it gives you that feel of this movie's not meant to be taken seriously. This is just a big dumb fun movie, and that's it's by the picture of George Clooney holding a jackhammer stake. You have a Juliette Lewis holding a crossbow, and then the son Lily's holding a water gun with condoms buckled to it.
With holy water, because a priest said this water is holy.
Yeah, this movie is not meant to be taken seriously at all, and it's like I said, it's like big dumb fun, it's big horror fun, and we as horror fans are able to appreciate it a little more because we've sat through a million bad horror movies.
Yes,
but this movie really goes all, it definitely goes balls out, and it's really good. It's a really good part of the movie. Like, I really did enjoy this movie a lot.
The one thing that I did love is, and again, going back to the Jacob's, religion arc, is like when Seth tells him, "Are you going to die and be a quitter, or are you going to be a motherfucking, what is it, soldier of God or something like that?"
Servant of God.
Servant of God. He goes, "I don't be a mother." Servant of God.
Yeah, Harvey's really good in this movie.
Harvey Keitel is great at anything. But he's really good in this movie.
It's funny because he's not cursing in this movie at all. But I've only seen Harvey Keitel in cursing roles.
Yeah.
Like we've all heard Harvey Keitel spout out some crazy stuff. So it's a very different, very different character that we're used to seeing from Harvey Keitel, but it's awesome.
And then I believe in this scene also, Jacob makes his kids promise when he turns that they will kill him.
Yeah, that's a greatly acted scene. That's where Keitel is able to be Harvey Keitel.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So yeah, they get in this room, they find all these weapons, they go out, kill some vampires, are able to take some of them out, and Jacob Fuller, Harvey Keitel, is able to fight as far as he can until he eventually turns into a vampire, bites his son, but his son ends up killing him. And then the son starts getting eaten by a bunch of vampires. Juliette Lewis has to basically kill her brother. We didn't even mention Richie got turned into a vampire a long time ago, and George Clooney had to kill him. A lot of killing of your own family members in this movie.
Yep.
Out of it. Finally, Carlos shows up. It's daylight.
Finally.
Yeah, it's now dawn, and
the sunlight.
Cheech Marin is playing Carlos, so you know Cheech Marin got his third character in there.
The three faces of Cheech.
He's able to basically stop the vampires without even realizing that he was stopping the vampires.
Yep. And because the holes from the sun, they end up kicking down the door, and then all the sunlight is let in.
Yeah, and gets shined off of a giant disco ball.
Again, not meant to be taken seriously, guys.
And then Seth's able to get his ride, go all the way to El Rey. Juliette Lewis goes her opposite way. Even though she had a little bit of a Stockholm syndrome at the end, asking if it was okay if she went with Seth, which was kind of refreshing that he was like, nah, like,
yeah,
you gotta
go home.
Like, yeah, you're better than this. So
go home.
Go
home, kid.
And that's the film. The film is that's the end of the movie. And I will say I did enjoy this movie a lot. And one of my favorite things about this movie is this movie has no rules. There's no rhyme or reason to these vampires, but it didn't like hurt the film at all.
No, because they actually bring that up in the movie.
Yeah.
They're like, look, I know it sounds stupid. I know it sounds crazy, but I saw vampires with my own eyes, so that's what we're all going to say these things are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like there are different things where Juliette Lewis was shooting vampires with stakes and they were exploding. But this movie has zero rules, and it helps this film, I think, a little more.
It does.
If you don't go 100% fully into the kind of cheese and like campiness of those horror films you've seen before, if you don't go to that and it's just like, oh, you take this super serious as a vampire movie and they're like, I don't know, like underworld type vampires, then it'd be different.
It wouldn't work.
And it was full on like Buffy the Vampire Slayer type vampires. Like they weren't just changing their teeth. They'd be monsters, and it was really good.
Oh yeah. So pretty much, that's the rundown, guys. Are you ready to move on to MVP?
Yeah, I'll go MVP, and I'll be going first this week. And my MVP is George Clooney, man. George Clooney he shines in this film. I think he shines in a lot in everything he's in, but in this one, he's just like he's meant to be someone that you dislike because he's a bank robber, has killed people before, but he's 100% like super charismatic, extremely charming, and you just end up liking the guy. When you have a character like this, you need a guy like George Clooney to bring some heart to it and like just kind of make it likable. Because anybody else, it might not be as good, but when you have a guy like George Clooney who has that smile, has that face, and has that charisma, I mean, it's a given. You're gonna liking him, and you're gonna be cheering for him.
Definitely. So see, that was my original pick, but I do have a backup plan. Mm-hmm. First, big shout out to John Saxon in this movie, playing what else? A cop.
Yeah, of course.
In every horror movie, it's John Saxon as the police officer.
Yep.
But yep, he has one scene.
Yeah, just the one scene, and I mean, he's meant to be recognizable, and then that's it.
Yep. So my second pick is Jacob Fuller, Harvey Keitel.
Yeah.
I think the heart of this movie is with Harvey Keitel's character. He's the everyman. He's supposed to be from your perspective, which I love, and his journey of religion, being a pastor who lost his wife and then is slowly starting to lose faith, but at the end of the movie, he regains his faith. Yeah. That's something that we can all relate to. You're at the point where you question your religion, and then when you're younger, and then you start figuring it out as you're older. Perfectly done by Harvey Keitel in this movie.
Yeah, definitely. And I would say both actors, both MVPs that we picked, they kind of make this film probably better than it should be.
Yeah.
Because think about I was thinking the decisions that are made. You always have to look at the decisions that are made in a movie, and this one, I normally wouldn't be on Jacob Fuller's side in how he has to protect his family, but it's the acting and the likableness of George Clooney that makes Harvey Keitel's character in the movie believe him. And if you don't believe him, then you're and if you don't believe George Clooney is a man of his word and means what he does, because I 100% believe that once they got what they needed,
they were going to leave him alone.
Yeah, they were going to leave him alone. And without George Clooney being the kind of actor that he is, that might not work. You'd be thinking he's going to kill you. You would believe, you would be on the side of the son. But because of the actors that are, I 100% believe. Therefore, if I was in Jacob Fuller's shoes, if I was in Harvey Keitel's shoes, I would 100% probably do the exact same thing, and 100% sense. And that's good writing and acting.
Oh yeah. All right, guys. So let's move on to favorite scene.
Yes.
You start.
This one might have been a little tougher, but I did go with the big battle scene And I will give a shout out. I know what scene you're gonna pick, so I'm gonna give a special shout out to also the opening scene. I think the opening scene was really good. You know, typical Quentin Tarantino fashion of being able to put together a great opening scene and really just get you drawn in on dialogue alone. But it's the big battle scene, like once they're out there fighting, because it's just big dumb fun, and I'm all about big dumb fun. Like I don't ever like try to take too many movies seriously unless they be taken seriously. And by this point, you're already bought in. At least I was already bought in.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed that scene. That was just so much fun. It's crazy goriness, crazy kills, awesome effects. I love the practical effects. The practical effects are amazing in this film.
So good.
The '90s were a great time for horror movies. Oh, yeah. And yeah, that's why I picked that scene. It's just big, dumb, goofy fun that just it makes the entire movie really well.
One of my favorite scenes actually has to do with that battle, but it's when everybody is in the back room.
Yeah.
I think he froze again. Oh, no, you're good. You're freezing up on us.
I can jump out and I'll jump back in. Give me 1 second.
All right. But yeah, I love the scene where everybody's in the back room because it shows that this isn't just a big dumb action movie. Like it's a movie that has heart as well. It brings George Clooney and Harvey Keitel together. Yeah. All right. So yeah, it brings George Clooney and Harvey Keitel's great acting together in one scene, and it also shows, hey, it can also be dumb, stupid action fun where they're all holding ridiculous weapons in a lineup like a '90s action movie would. So yeah, that's one of my favorite scenes.
Yeah, that seems great. It brings the intenseness for sure because you have Harvey Keitel basically saying like telling his kids like really telling them like and asking them to promise really hard that everyone would have a hard time agreeing to. Basically,
swear on God, he said.
Yeah, man, like that, and you know that when he said that, and you could tell in that moment through Harvey Keitel's acting that he doesn't say that very often.
No.
He doesn't probably like his kids to swear to God and have that be like a very common thing said in the household. So when he says it, he means it, and you feel that 100% in that scene.
Yeah.
And Juliette Lewis is great in that scene as well. I think
she's really good. She's actually really good in this whole movie.
Yeah, she's really good.
Like there's never really a scene where I find her annoying or anything like that.
For sure. 1 second. I don't know if they say the last names in the film. They might say it like real quick, but do you know the last names of at least in the script of Seth and Richie?
Gecko.
Yep. And that is a name that we've heard before, if I'm not mistaken, right? Oh no, I'm thinking of something else. I'm sorry. My bad. Move on.
I was so confused to begin with.
My bad. I was wrong. I'm sorry. I was thinking something else. Anyways, I do want to say. Well, let's go ahead and get to the Rotten Tomatoes before I say what I want to say.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, drum roll please. The Rotten Tomatoes score is 62%.
And I will say, when I saw this score for the first time, I was pleasantly surprised. I was like really happy that they were willing, that critics, when they saw this movie, took it for what it was. That they didn't try to make too much of it. And I believe I'm gonna check to see how early this was in Robert Rodriguez's career.
I think this was one of his. Actually, I think Desperado was right before this. This was 96.
Yeah, I'm gonna look at his IMDb. You might be right about Desperado. Let's see. Filmography. Go all the way to the bottom. As director. So you had like before that, his first feature film was El Mariachi.
El Mariachi, yeah.
Yeah. El Mariachi was in 1992. Then he had Desperado in 95, and then was From Dusk Till Dawn. So this is a film. So you have to think critics are trying to get a grasp of who Robert Rodriguez is. And I was very pleasantly surprised to find out that, like, they knew what this film was when they were watching it, and they didn't, give it a horrible score based on that.
All right, so Alec, I gotta ask you: overrated, underrated, or perfectly rated?
I'm gonna go perfectly rated. This is gonna be the second perfectly rated that I've given out so far, and the reason why I think is there are some things in this film that, even though I enjoy them, that they don't get kind of touched upon. Like, you don't really get you were really told early Richie is crazy. He has mental issues. He has things going on in his head, but there's no payoff for that. It just kind of brush over it. You don't really have to see anything deeper on that, and that affects the. But then you have all this craziness, and so I enjoyed it. It's a lot of fun, but I would nowhere near put it in my top 75. I wouldn't give it a 75 out of 100. I would probably be in this range, 62, 69 maybe. But, so that's why I go perfectly rated. Yeah.
All right. This is where we're gonna disagree. I'm gonna say this movie is underrated.
Okay.
But only slightly. Now, I can hear your criticism about it, but I will counter with, I don't want to know more about Richie, because that would have taken away from the movie. That would have taken away from what we were supposed to believe this movie was, which is big, dumb fun. Mm-hmm. And if we get into a Tarantino movie where it's 3 hours, we gotta dive deep into Richie's character. To me, it takes away from what this movie is supposed to be, which is high energy, high pace. Let's get to the bar and let's get to the fighting. So now, any other movie, yes, I would say, all right, I can understand why you want more. This movie, though, I feel like it doesn't need to go into his backstory.
And I would normally agree with you, except that they put emphasis. If they just made Richie a creepy guy that you don't get any really backstory. Thank you, Angel, for agreeing with me. That if they was made to make Richie look like, oh, there's nothing really going on, but I believe that the writing is very intentional to make you notice and how odd and great and different Richie is. And then you have that one scene after he kills the first hostage, where Seth is all in his face and basically tells him what did I do wrong? Did I make you think I'm like this? I want to know what's going on. Is this dynamic been there before, or is this brand new after Seth went to jail? They open all these questions, and you want to know more. I personally wanted to know more about Richie because there's got to be a reason he is the way he is, and yeah, he just didn't seem crazy for crazy's sake. There was little hints that there was something deeper. We just never get it, and probably never will. But I still like the film. It doesn't take away from my liking of the film. It just stops it from going a little higher.
Yeah.
Normally go.
Yeah. So the reason why I say underrated just slightly is because to me this movie gave me everything I wanted. Nothing more, nothing less. So I would say I would give this movie maybe a 70. Right down the middle, 7 out of 10. It's a very fun movie. It was someone like me who loves big, dumb, horror-esque movies. I got exactly what I want. With two characters that I absolutely love. With, George Clooney playing a really, really great character.
Yeah, this is a really good movie. I just say I would probably still be in that. You say 7 out of 10, I'd probably be in more like 6.5 out of 10 range.
Okay, definitely. All right, so guys, that's pretty much it. And this was going to be the shortest review we've ever done.
Well, yeah, there's not really much more to dive into. It's pretty straightforward what this movie is, and it's just a lot of fun. That's what that's the kind of time I had talking about this film and watching it for the first time. I kind of want to go back and watch it just to see what I think, again, but I might give it a little bit because we have a movie coming up next week.
Can I talk about it?
Absolutely. Please take it away.
Ladies and gentlemen, next week we are talking about, in my opinion, one of the greatest horror movies of the 2010s. And that is Jordan Peele's Us from 2019.
I would just like to point out that the comments made by Hunter do not reflect of Sinister's movie night. Yes, this is going to be a very interesting conversation. This one we will probably need to be started exactly on time because we might be going for a bit.
Yeah.
This one is going to be similar to Glass in that there are theories, there are twists and turns, so it requires both of us to kind of think outside the box, and that requires a little bit more time. And unlike this one where we're pretty quick and concise with the rundown, the next one's going to be a little bit deeper.
It might be our first 2-hour show.
Yeah, so I'm getting ready for that because, I mean, you've already got your sneak preview of how you feel about the movie. My little sneak preview is I very highly disagree with the fact of one of the best horror movies of 2010. I
said one of the best, but yeah, it's
one of the best.
It's up there. It is up there for me, man. This film is damn near perfect to me.
It's fine. So because of that, I'm gonna be watching Us. I'm looking forward to. I am definitely looking forward to watch because, to be fair, I've only seen it like 1 or 2 times. I haven't seen it.
Gotta watch it more.
That's fine. This weekend, so I'm looking forward to it, and I hope everyone who's watching the replay, who's watching on the live right now, like Angel, I hope you guys check out next week's episode for Us, please, and feel free to put in your comments during the recording of what you think of this movie, and also put a comment on what you think of From Dusk Till Dawn. Did you enjoy the movie as much as we did? Did you disagree?
Leave it down below, guys.
Put it down below in that comment section. Like and subscribe to this. And before we head out, Hunter, you want to go ahead and plug anything before we head out?
Yeah, guys. Hit subscribe right here at Nerd Entertainment Network. We have the Nerm Division Movie Trivia Challenge coming out. Also, we had our first match last night, I believe. That was released. So go and check that out, guys. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, and you can catch me all over the place, all in these trivia leagues where all you guys are. Check out TMG Sports, where me, Joe West, and Kevin Poss kind of run that league. Check us out next week for this film. For next week's film, Us.
I can't wait.
I'm looking forward to it, man. It's gonna be fun. But all right, let's go ahead and head out. That's the Hitman Hunter Chambers. I'm Sinister Alec Miller. We'll see you guys next week.